Brad. Welcome, Jason. For those tuned in, this is Haider at Okcoin. We're doing something special today. What we're going to try and do is make our typical AMA a little more engaging and fun. And the way we're going to do that is by having Jason from Okcoin and Brad from Unstoppable Domains go against each other on a gaming competition. And as they're gaming and trying to beat each other, we're going to be throwing some really fun questions at them related to unstoppable domains and how to use them and so on and so forth. And during this time, we're going to select 5 questions from the community. And those 5 folks are going to essentially get $10 worth of BTC on us. Well, in fact, it's actually not on us. It's basically going to be whoever's the loser picks up the bill. So the game that we're going to play is Donkey Kong. And I think what I'm hearing is Brad and Jason are both pros at this. We'll see how pro they are. So I hope this is going to be fun. The whole idea was let's get away from this sort of boring format and get into something more fun and engaging, and that's more entertainment for people tuning in. And during this time, we'll also try our best to make the conversation as educational for you guys as possible. So let's kick off really quickly with what is unstoppable domains for the folks who are not familiar with blockchain-based domains. So we've been working with Brad and team over the last few months. Now Okcoin has a complete integration of unstoppable domains. There are a couple of utilities that come as a result of that. So the first primary utility that you get through this integration is you're now able to send and receive crypto between wallets and exchanges that support unstoppable domains without having to deal with that long string of address that no one likes. To do this, you have to simply go to unstoppabledomains.com. You purchase yourself a unstoppable domain. You configure it on Okcoin, and then now you're enabled to be able to use this to send and receive funds. And those domains can actually be really fun in terms of their naming. So you can have johnsmith.crypto or brad.crypto or jason.crypto. And not only can you use these for send and receive, but there's another cool component that I personally really like, which is that you are now able to use this as your personal real estate online. So you can use it for publishing content, you can host anything and everything. And the cool thing about blockchain-based domains is the fact that these are tamper-resistant domains, meaning when you actually purchase a domain, a traditional domain like a .com or a .io from GoDaddy or what have you, you're basically paying a leasing fee every year. And then if you want privacy of your ownership of that domain, you then have to pay an extra amount every year to get privacy. And you don't really get privacy, but let's just say that's a pseudo privacy product. With unstoppable domains, you basically are the true owner. You're not leasing anything. Once you purchase it, it's really your domain. No one can take it away from you. So if you start saying something that other people don't like, there's nobody who can actually take down that website. You're basically the ultimate owner. So please be nice with the content you post. Don't be malicious. But those are the 2 key values. You can use it to seamlessly move crypto around, and you can also use it as your personal real estate to publish great content that people want to use and see. So with that said, we should get into the fun part. What do you guys think? Let's do it.
Get started.
Who wants to go first?
Hey, Brad, so you picked the game. Do you want to go first?
All right. Let's give this a try.
So the game is Donkey Kong. And let's see who's going to emerge as the king of Donkey Kong.
All right. Let's see how long this has been.
I am curious while you're loading. Why did you pick this game? Besides the fact that you've been practicing for days and days.
So when I guess, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to date myself now. I think maybe this was, oops, it's kind of loud there. It was maybe 20 years ago, I guess. I was playing this game with friends. And I was actually, I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not with this crowd, but I was a Sega kid. So this was like my best friend had this game, and this was the only SNES game I played when I was a kid. So I think I was trying to give myself something that I might have a chance of recognizing, although I can't even say if that's true. We'll see, huh?
So I guess like you picked a game that you have 20 years of experience playing. Great, Jason. Your odds are great.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to jump. I feel like that's going to become a problem here in a second.
Are you using a keyboard or what?
Yeah, keyboard.
Try the A, S, Z, or X button. One of the, well.
That didn't last long, right?
I'll give you another try.
Okay, that's cool. Oh, there we go. All right, now we're in business.
By the way, Brad, I love the act you're putting on about not knowing buttons and things like that. It's pretty
compelling,
working,
right?
I think.
Yeah, so sandbagging is, I think, a really important life skill. So people will always think you're awesome if you talk about how bad you were going to do. That's like what they do in the presidential debates. Beforehand, everyone's going around saying, well, my candidate is terrible. My candidate can't even say words. And then by the time they get up there and they don't trip over themselves, then everyone says, see, I'm great.
Hey, Brad, can we go in full screen so we're not giving airtime to these like really crappy ads on the screen?
How do we do full screen?
Left one.
There we go. How's that?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
All right. So are we officially started?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So all right. So part of this game is that I'm going to be firing up questions at you guys, distracting you from winning. So let's see, Brad. I'm going to start with you first. Why did you choose to integrate with Okcoin?
So I think there's this. So if you look at the crypto community overall, you've got dApps, you've got wallets, you've got exchanges. But the reality, even though all of us love the self-custody aspect of crypto, the reality is that somewhere between many and most coins out there are stored by exchanges. So if you want to truly replace the crypto addresses and be able to have people no longer need to see or think about these things when they're sending money around, it needs to work everywhere. And so Okcoin is a top exchange, and it's important for exchanges to also have the ability to have this feature for users. So the superpower of blockchain domain names is if it works everywhere, if it works in all the apps that you would use. So that's the most important thing. Interoperability is really the key here, and it's the thing that I think has been missing. Crypto is natively interoperable in a lot of ways, but we're still having this problem where we're still creating all different types of methods for people to send money. So right now the state is, here's a username. Each different exchange may have their own username system, or each wallet might even have their own username system. And this stuff is just not, it's not interoperable. It's not user controlled. And so this is the direction we're trying to go. Ooh.
Gotcha.
You guys are aggressive.
By the way, on this game, so like, do you guys get a bunch of turns? Like, how does it work?
I think if we were playing together, that's good. There we go. He's dancing. I think if so, maybe after this level, since I finished the level, I can pause and I can give you a run here, Jason. I think I'm going to pick back up where I left off, so it should work.
All right, let me see if I can get mine going. But finish your comment. I think you're saying, I think we kind of need. Is my screen playing?
Yeah, it is. There you go.
There you go.
That is not me playing, by the way. That's I think that's just the game. Anyways, while I get set up, yeah, I actually saw that you had Unocoin also come in to support unstoppable domains recently. I think that's pretty cool. India-based exchange. Again, I think it's part of that growing that ecosystem that supports this, right?
Absolutely, and I think there's all different types of use cases. I think one of the areas where Okcoin is strong is there's a lot of crypto being used for money being sent from US or around the world to India, and I think that's just kind of gets at this remittance thing, which the crypto world's been talking about for a while. And so I think that's one of many use cases. But I think the bigger picture idea is, if you fast forward into the future, like a few years into the future, does anybody really think that we're going to be sending trillions of dollars of value to the equivalent of IP addresses? It's just a goofy concept that we're going to send $1 million payments to random 40 character or 20 character addresses with no identity associated with who we're sending that money to. That's just not how it works in the world right now. And just imagine what would happen if somebody sent you one of those codes. Like right now, if I want to pay somebody on Venmo, I get to see, their name. I get to see maybe a social account or some sort of verification. There's always context with my payments. And right now, with crypto, context is missing.
Mm-hmm. Would you say it's like an email address, maybe? Or is that a bad analogy?
No, I think it's a good analogy. It's like an email address for your money, and email addresses are a form of subdomains. So it's all in the same camp. I think the biggest thing to think about, to keep in mind with blockchain domains versus regular domains is, besides the fact that it's user controlled, it's that they're important for consumers. So consumers are going to have these domain names because it's not just about building a website or building a business on. It's also about receiving money and posting your personal content, et cetera. So it's just it's got a lot more. It has a lot more potential users than traditional domains do.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Tell us
By the way,
the difference between .zil and .crypto. How would you differentiate that for people who are hearing you explain this?
So the idea is that they functionally should be quite similar. .zil was the first system that we launched it on Zilliqa blockchain. So there's a bit of, that's really only the main difference. In general, we want for all of our systems to have similar features. The idea is really that you're choosing between, an extension that you prefer for your specific use case, but not that there should be really different functionality.
Got it. So say I purchase a domain and I have one and I'm about to claim it. Do I need to worry about gas fees?
So we cover your gas fees. Right now, gas fees are high, as everybody knows. So there is an extra claim cost right now, but hopefully as we improve scaling, that's going to go away. So we're working on some things right now. No announcements just yet, but we're working on some solutions there.
That's cool.
Can I just ask follow-up question? And please don't share anything you're not ready to. But what are your thoughts on scaling there? Yeah, like what direction are you guys looking at?
L2s.
L2s, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, going towards L2s.
Cool.
Oops.
For folks who don't know L2, do you want to explain L2s?
Yeah, and so I'm not going to give you the best. And sorry, I just died there, Jason. That's why I shut it down. So the general idea is that the Ethereum blockchain has seen unprecedented demand over the past year, and in particular over the past few months. And as a result, it needs more transaction throughput. And so what people are doing is they're building these systems called layer 2s, which allow you to do transactions on these secondary networks that are still verified and using the security of the L1 of the main chain of Ethereum. And so what this basically means in practice is you can hang out and you can do stuff. You can do stuff on the L2. You can get your domain. You can move it around. But if something goes wrong with the L2, then your recourse is, and the L2 is not going to be as reliable as the Ethereum blockchain itself. But if something goes wrong, you can just move it back to the layer 1. So your kind of worst case scenario is I have to pay a big fee on the blockchain in order to use my domain or anything that you're doing. So this is something that DeFi apps are doing as well. I mean, this is just kind of this is the next phase of development inside of the Ethereum ecosystem, and this is the general direction that I think most, if not all, apps are going.
Yeah, it's funny. You guys are. It's fascinating. You guys are eating the gas costs or the gas fees. We're doing the same on our DeFi Earn product. So if you go to Earn, okcoin.com/earn, and you get into any of those DeFi protocols, one of the key value propositions we decided was important for customers was to just clean that up, remove the fees, so it's not a blocker for people. It's just super simple for them to go in and out of those protocols, which I think is a pretty big savings, about 140, 120 bucks. Jason, where do you think that number is now?
Oh yeah, I just know it's very high, like Brad said.
Yeah.
Almost makes the actual to interact with the Ethereum blockchain yourself kind of untenable. So it's good, Brad. I claimed my token before you guys implemented a claim fee. And I was actually very surprised by that. That was a great user experience.
And that's the idea, just because, it's not the kind of thing that necessarily makes sense to new users, this idea of the fee, but it's also just a streamline, like in the regular world, like, yeah, you've got fees associated with things that you buy, you've got a tax, you've got a tax you got to pay. If there's probably, there could be other fees in there, but the idea is that it should all just be rolled into one checkout experience, that you don't have these multiple steps and multiple things you got to think about. So I think the reason why this kind of stuff is important is that it's simplifying the decision process for the user and the path for the user. And we're starting to see this, I think, in crypto in general, that people are starting to really focus on this. I think that's good. That's not where V1 of crypto apps were. They just expose all the information to you, and that was great. Early on, that was great. It was actually helpful.
A different audience, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think also conceptually, it was important as these things were new. Like to really make sure like you're doing this for the first time. Everyone's doing this for the first time, or in the early cycle of getting used to this technology. So it's important to expose all that stuff to everybody so we understand it. But once we've kind of moved past that, and now people get it, they get that there's this concept of gas and transactions cost money, and it depends on how complicated your transaction is. All of that stuff is much better known now, and so now we really just need to make it simple and get people through the funnel more easily.
That's smart. That's super smart. So the obvious.
By the way, Brad, I died. You're up.
So the obvious question that comes up, gentlemen, is what are the risks associated to, blockchain domains or unstoppable domains? Frankly, for me, I think it's like de-risking your position from what the risks you are exposed to with traditional domains. But what's your, Brad, thought on are there other risks? Like, do you see the risks around browsers not supporting them long term, which makes the resolution a little harder for an everyday consumer? What are the risks that you see with these domains?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily refer to it as a risk, but I do think that it's a feature that is like it's a long-term challenge, which is that these things need to be as usable as a traditional domain would be. I just can't figure out where to go here. I'm actually like directionless. I think that's really the challenge. Although in general, what we've seen is browsers being pretty excited, and I think that comes from the fact that their market has not evolved a lot over the past, say, 10, 15 years. And so when we're talking to these to these companies, they're saying, wow, there's something new that allows me to differentiate from this, like, from my competitors in this hyper competitive market. And it's something that, Apple and Google might not jump on immediately. So I have a market opportunity, and it allows me to get deeper into crypto. So right now it's kind of the reaction has been like, how do I get in on this? Has been the discussion so far, which is really exciting. And I think it comes from the fact that when people are deep in the web world, they understand all of these problems. Like, they understand all these issues that exist with domains and with content and with the fact that these systems aren't secure. Like, GoDaddy got social engineering hacked a few months ago. Somebody was able to call up the GoDaddy employees and convince them to turn over the control of domain names. Like, that all comes down to this aspect that the user is not in control and some other company is in control. And because the other company is in control, it means that they can make mistakes like that. So the traditional web world is hyper aware of all of this stuff. I would say it's everybody else that's not as aware, and I don't think we were as aware until we got really deep into this world and into how DNS works, et cetera. So when you're talking to the web folks, they're like, yeah, this thing's been broken for 20 years. Like, why hasn't anybody noticed until now? Is kind of the conversations that we're having there.
Yeah, what I bring it back to the browsers. I think
Brad, which browsers currently support?
So Opera browser right now, and more coming soon. Stay tuned is what I would say. I can't nothing to share just yet, but do stay tuned.
Cool. I think what's even more powerful from a network effect standpoint is when people start publishing content and start building communities using these domains. Then what happens is there are more people out there who are looking to figure out a way to resolve these domains so they can actually go visit that content. And I think that's what's going to drive more pressure for browsers to start supporting them, because there are these sub communities being developed. And of course, who doesn't want access to that traffic?
And I think the thing that's really helpful here, and it's kind of funny, I think that we have seen ourselves, the crypto community, we've seen ourselves as these kind of, odd kid, outsiders, entering into all of these new markets. But now we're kind of we're kind of like a juggernaut. We're like $2 trillion market now. Like, we're bigger than a lot of the markets that crypto is now attempting to disrupt. So the conversation is totally different now than it would have been 3 or 4 years ago, because we're not saying, hey, everybody, try this wacky crypto thing that might get somewhere. We're saying, hey, there's this massive industry with 100 million plus people and $2 trillion worth of wealth and a rabid community that's ready to try new things. Like, that is, like, I mean, where else are you going to find that on the internet? Like, what other community besides the crypto community has those attributes? It's pretty, it's pretty earth shaking. And I think that's what's happening in the domain world. Is the domain world, they're now seeing it, and like the domain world's been big and has had like a really active, investor class and people that have been building on it for decades. And that world is very, very mature. Those markets are very mature. Crypto markets are already bigger than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So shout out to Chris, who asked the 2 questions. I think he's definitely the winner of one of the $10 airdrops. Gentle reminder for anyone who's watching: throw any and every question you have. Nothing like free BTC. We're looking out for your questions. So what happened to the game, guys?
I died, Brad. So it seems like we're both stuck on this level.
Yeah, I can't actually figure out which direction I'm supposed to go, but I'm gonna embarrass myself one more time here. So,
right. Brad, why don't you? I have a question about you mentioned 3 domains sold for a record price of $100,000 earlier. Tell us about those domains. What were they, and why did these people spend up for it?
So it was win.crypto, WIN, gambling.crypto, and hotels.crypto.
Oh,
And
nice.
I think in general, what we did is we hadn't released most of the premium domains for those of you who have been to the site before, and you may have searched for something that you were interested in and seen, this will be available later. Part of the reason that we did that was we just didn't have the domains didn't work in most places yet when we launched. When we launched, it was I guess that was December of 2019. That was pre most of these integrations. The first browser integration was middle of 2020. We got a whole bunch of wallet support during that period, and then of course the exchange support more recently. So you just couldn't really use the domains in enough places yet, so we just hadn't released them. But as a result, I mean, there's been interest in them for quite a while. So it's really just a function of, hey, they weren't available yet, and now they are.
Got it. You're supposed to head left, by the way, Brad.
I'm supposed to head left. Okay, thank you. That's where
So I got a question for both you guys. There are countries where there's censorship, internet censorship. Of course, now people in those markets can host content using unstoppable domains and access information that they historically were not able to access because their government decided to block that content. How do you guys see that use case developing over time? And do you think there's more good than bad or bad than good in that equation?
I think when you put users in control in general, that's better. And the reason why is because there's no such thing as a central power decision maker that is uncorruptible. And so that's the reason why you need to have a technology that takes no opinions. Now, this does not mean that there's not going to be moderation on the internet or in applications. There absolutely will be moderation. The difference is that the moderators, the apps, don't control all your stuff. So right now, Facebook controls everything. Twitter controls everything. So when they moderate, meaning they decide to kick you off their platform, they're kicking you off the internet. And that's a completely different power dynamic. And so what needs to happen is that the user controls that information. The user can share it with an app like a Facebook. And if Facebook doesn't like what they're doing, Facebook absolutely has the right to ban them. That's the right of a private company. But the difference is that the user will be able to just pick up with their friends and their username and their pictures and all the other stuff and walk away and go over to another app. And that's how we get this kind of balance and competitive market around moderation. It's not an anything goes internet. Now, of course, the records are still going to be on the blockchain. So if you, as an individual, decide to go and resolve something on your own, you can. And so I think what's really going to wind up happening here at the end of the day is we're going to get a better moderated internet. We're going to get a lot more competition around moderation. But if something really, really needs to get out there, if there's something the majority of people really want to see, you're not going to be able to turn that off because there's just too much energy around it. And I think so this is really like a people powered thing. And so if people decide, hey, this is bad, I don't want to see this, then it's going to essentially be hidden from the internet for all intents and purposes. Not that it's able to be taken down, just that it won't be visible in most of the apps you would use.
Such a well-articulated diplomatic answer. I love it.
It's a complicated world. And, I think the reality is that there's no one person or group or anything like that I think should be trusted to determine what's okay to say and what's not okay to say online. So we have to have a state where there's competition, even around moderation, which we don't have right now. So it's all about having a hyper competitive free market, and that's really what's going to get us to the best answer.
Yeah, Jason, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I think this is there's a balance here, right? And I think we're at one end of the pendulum right now, and people are sort of seeing the effects of some of these call it moderators, call it censorship, whatever you want to call it, having a little bit too much power. And No, I think having more options is always fantastic. So we'll see how that plays out.
Cool. So we got 3 winners. I'm going to call them out: Kyle, Jim, and Chris. Wish we had a
Nice.
female in this mix, but maybe next time. I want to congratulate 3 of you guys. Please do send your emails or DM us on Twitter, and we'll get your account credited with $10 worth of BTC, which could be $20 by the end of this year. So thanks, guys. Brad, Jason, thank you for having fun. I guess, like, before we close this, who's progressed the most in stages?
You know, I judging from at least watching Brad play and how I did, I think we're both kind of stuck on the second level of the game, which is pretty embarrassing, frankly.
I keep not being able to figure out which direction I'm supposed to go.
Since we're wrapping up, I'm not going to help you out anymore. But I think you're in the right track.
You know, I feel bad giving you guys the bill. I'm just going to pick the bill up.
Thank you, Haider.
Yeah, I'll just cover it for you guys. I think you need more practice.
Definitely, my 10-year-old self would not be proud right now.
No. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much. I know it's a busy day for you guys. I'm glad we did this. I hope the community enjoyed this format. I think we should explore more fun things like this in the future. Glad to have you guys here, and I'll see you guys soon.